got some Dark Magician action for you today, Ritual Beast, and it would appear that we have somebody working on some Light and Darkness Dragon. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. You know, the paths that I'm seeing people go down here, just for what they can mess around with in your modern era Dark Magician decks, I think has been some of the most impressive deck building in the world. Because remember, we did get the Toy Box stuff. You know, Toy Box brings out the tank and the soldier here. And you know what these cards end up doing? Well, you end up feeding them off of the Magician Souls. You get 2 bodies on the field, and you get to draw 2 cards. I feel like at this point in time, the synergy for these 2 cards is actually pretty gosh darn good for the Dark Magician deck. Also, I mean, this is an auto link too, technically. Plus, you know, whatever extra added benefits that you want to be able to pull off because, you know, you opened up the toy box, so you're able to do that. Like, that's actually pretty huge to think about out here. The little mini engines that could for this. Now, with that being said, you are doing a 2-2 split on the Dark Magician and the Red Eyes. Reason for this is, once again, I mean, Red Eyes Fusion is just going to be everything that you need it to be. Dark Dragoon is a major, actually I think it is the only thing that this deck really has going for it anymore. You know, you deploy the large boss monster. It's a walking, talking negate. Its job is to go to 4,000. But I feel like that's just kind of it. You do have other ways to hard make this, but not in this build. So you literally have to roll the Red Eyes Fusion off of the inside, or, you know, whatever other searchable options that you have, and you're good to go. We are playing 2 Soul Servant in here. No Mahad. We are also playing the Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon as well. Wow, we have a lot of cool options available to us, but this is just a good classic example of the moving bits and pieces that you can mess around with in a deck like this and actually be able to have fun with. Good job, Dark Magician. I'm so happy to see you do well. Ooh, Ritual Beast. Well, I can... Hold on here. Where's the Shifter? Why are we not main decking Shifter in my Ritual Beast deck? But instead, we've opted to play Dimensional Fissure, of all things. I don't know if I like that or not. I feel like being able to have the Shifter turn 1 to rely on, you know, to get that blanket 2 turns is really good. But are we really opting for the you know, Dimensional Fissures here to be that pushing point for us to have as a defensive option? That's kind of interesting. I guess there is an argument to be had here on what the proper course of action is. I guess once again, it comes down to your preference in deck building and what you want to do. Oh, hi, Arch Nemesis Protos. How are you? So while we are doing the Corridor and the Flag stuff in the main deck, which we've seen so many people do because, you know, having this deck have access to the Colossus. Do not underestimate the Colossus, by the way. I believe at this point we have officially seen more list with Colossus than not playing the Colossus, which means Colossus is going to be the go-to. You could make an argument, well, you know, maybe I don't want to play the Colossus. Well, maybe you're not winning. I feel like we're already got some interesting tech choices with the Dimensional Fissure up and running here. We're actually playing the Bonds in here too. All right, I do like Bonds. I think Bonds being able to cheat out, you know, where's the big league for? Yeah, this guy always is going to feel pretty nice. Outside of that, this list is by far one of the more interesting ones that we've had so far. You have to remember, you know, diversity of options will always be a good thing, and you will see some interesting takes. Next up here, we have a working, where is it? We have a working Light and Darkness Dragon Lord deck. Now, I've messed around with this stuff myself. I can tell you have some issues with the deck, but that's not to say that the deck itself is incredibly terrible, because it's not. I mean, it's effectively, what, 3 negates walking around out here, putting itself down to, what, like 400, and that's actually pretty good. I mean, this thing also gets to float into a dragon monster from your graveyard, so, you know, after you're plopping down, you know, these 2 dragons here, you know, it's free. I really wish, you know, it could interact with, you know, what it's kind of feeding off. Our choices for the level 8 monsters here in the extra deck. I see we're playing the Judgment Dragon of the Heaven, a Stardust. Okay, so we just chose to do some light stuff, and we're using the BLs and the Red Dragon Arching. Well, I mean, you don't have to use the Dark End Dragon, and you don't have to use the Light End Dragon. Like, there's nothing really too crazy that we have to pull off with that, but I think, you know, those options are more of the classical ones. I see we're also playing the Chaos Emperor, the Dragon Lord. You have the Book of Eclipses. You should be playing the Triple Dragons, Light and Dark. This card should get you to where you need to be. Also, thank you, trade-ins. I love and appreciate you. You cards are massively good. Also, Triple Knight Armed Dragon. This card is a little bit hit or miss. I do think you do need to play it, though. It is kind of important. I did not like this card at all, but you have to remember, you're dedicating some heavy slots to, you know, six brickaroos, that if you don't have the extra piece to do your thing, like, this supplements and allows you to do so. So you have to think very heavily on that side of things. So an interesting showcase here. Our next list, oh man, how many gimmick puppet lists am I gonna have to see out here, man? I think that it's a good thing that we are seeing all of these different ideas for the gimmick puppet stuff. We're only playing one copy of the Terror Baby, which is fine. I mean, this is the thing that makes the deck ignorant and tells your opponent, no, we're not doing that. There have been some builds that are only playing the 2 copies of the Scissor Arms. I find that a little bit weird. I feel like this is literally the heart and soul of the deck. This drops any specific piece and or drops the Terror Baby down so you can do the thing. Like, that ignorance is going to be very, very important here. Looking at the rest of this, I do agree with the Triple Mansion. There were some very early builds that I saw that were doing the 2 Argent Chaos Force. I think at this point in time, we've solidified down to the 1 of, which should get you to where you need to be. And we're actually not main decking the crossouts. Not having the crossouts in the main deck, I guess you just play more hand traps. We have 15 of them here for this list, which is fine. The plan is, like, you need to be able just to get the game back to your turn. But the thing is, like, you want to go first. So you want to be able to cut off your opponent's hand traps, which means, I guess, we're siding in rolls for the cross out here if, you know, we're seeing it. We don't want to lose that randomness. Also, the 2 thrust on into the dimensional barrier, that's pretty common. I think your extra deck here is as solid as it's going to get. You're pretty much banking on making sure that you can close out the game either with a huge board wipe on the opponent through the gimmick puppet stuff, or just kind of, man, ending up in a really weird position. I feel like I still think this deck is just OTK or bust, and there's going to be a lot of busting for sure. Then we have, man, 50 card Albz. You know, the reason why we've been covering so much Fallen of Albz in these, like, you know, week 1 type videos here is this deck has some pretty good results still backing itself up. I think a lot of people are still looking at Infinite Forbidden and they're like, gimmick puppet lock. Yeah, I can't wait for somebody to hand this. Please, I want to hear how many people have been gimmick puppet locked. And then they're like, oh, by the way, so I can just play all my gimmick puppets now, right? Like, this is the point we've gotten. You have gimmick puppets as a relevant deck in the meta, and this deck is gimmick puppet locking people. So I can't wait to hear about that. Here's your gimmick puppet, and then against the gimmick puppet player, you know, like, it's like the Joker arc. And they just end the game. You have the Dark Rulers for board breaking for going second, which I do kind of agree with. This is pretty good. I do see we are playing the Necro Banshee with the Zombie World. That's kind of cool. I didn't necessarily think that'd be something that we would be choosing to play right now, but alright. Also, Triple Black Goat Laughs. Yep, we all know what we're doing with this thing. Card's incredibly good. And, of course, I think everything in terms of your ratios here is fine. We're not actually side decking any of the crazier stuff here. Actually, Albz is something I haven't seen in a hot second, but hey, welcome back, buddy. How are you? Outside of that, yeah, whew. You know, even though this format looks like it's going to be dog water, the rogue challengers that have entered into the room have been quite nice to see. And I'm very, very happy to see what ideas that people are bringing to the table. So please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. See your beautiful faces back. You learn to dig it. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.